back to Sydney on Prescott Street. So today we're going to be talking all about Moissanite engagement rings. So we're going to be talking about what is Moissanite, where you can get it, and whether or not I think Moissanite is a better alternative to a diamond. Just a little backstory. I personally decided on Moissanite after a lot of back and forth and a lot of research, you could say, just trying to learn everything about the alternative. The initial reason that I went with Moissanite is because I had a certain look in mind and I wanted my stone to be somewhat larger. I don't have a huge stone by any means, but I wanted it to be big enough, and I knew at that time my husband and I were both in undergrad, so we definitely didn't have the means to purchase the exact ring that I wanted with a diamond as the center stone. That led me to just Googling different diamond alternatives. Like, obviously everyone's heard about CZ, but for me personally, I wouldn't choose that as my everyday engagement ring. You definitely still want it to be something nice and something special and something that will last you a lifetime. I stumbled across Moissanite, and initially I was a little skeptical because at that time I feel like it was pretty new. I hadn't heard personally of anyone ever using Moissanite, and there were very few YouTube videos and websites talking about it. So the few YouTube videos that were out there, I watched over and over again, just trying to educate myself. And same with the different websites and blog posts that I could find. Like I said, I had been doing a lot of research, so I realized that Moissanite was something that I wanted to go with. So eventually I stumbled upon the website Olive Avenue, which is a small, I believe, family-owned business based out of Arizona, and they're a jewelry shop, obviously. But they had a bunch of different engagement ring designs that I just loved. They're kind of antique-y, which again I really like. They had a lot of gemstones to choose from, and one of those was Moissanite. And so at that point I was like, I know this is the ring I want. I've done a lot of personal research on Moissanite, what it is, whether or not I think it would be good for us. And long story short, that's the ring that I went with through Olive Avenue. And overall, it was just a really smooth process. And so real quick, I'll give y'all a look at my engagement ring. So as you can see, I'm not wearing my wedding band. And we actually got the wedding band through Olive Avenue too, but it's just diamonds. And so today's video is all about the Moissanite, so I thought I would just showcase this and show it off a little bit. So my center stone, so the Moissanite, is an oval 5x7 Moissanite, which is the equivalent of 1 carat diamond. So you'll find that with gemstones, Moissanite's included, they're measured in millimeters. So mine is a 5x7 millimeter Moissanite, and I think it's beautiful, and Olive Avenue did a wonderful job. I would recommend them to anybody. My sister actually got her engagement ring, so she got engaged last July and recently married this June, and she did exactly what I did. She found a beautiful Moissanite ring on Olive Avenue as well as her wedding band, and that's what she chose. That's what she went with. So now we'll get into some specifics. First thing, what is Moissanite? You've probably heard of it by this point. It's becoming more and more popular. Before we get started in discussing this, I do want to say that I'm no expert, and all of the information that I'm providing you guys with is just information that I have found from the internet, blog posts and different websites and YouTube videos and all of that good stuff. Moissanite is a gemstone. It's not a fake diamond. It's clearly a diamond alternative. The Moissanite is a natural stone, but it's only found in very scarce quantities. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it was first discovered after an asteroid hit the Earth, which is really bizarre, but that's what I remember reading. So after discovering it years and years ago, we have now figured out a way to make it in labs. So when I was doing all of the research for my own ring, I found that Charles and Colvard in, I believe, North Carolina, they're the big manufacturers. So more than likely, whenever you see Moissanites listed online for sale, they're probably coming from the Charles and Colvard laboratory. And that's where mine came from. And my ring came with a little certificate, just like diamonds do, from Charles and Colvard. What makes Moissanite a good diamond alternative? So clearly engagement rings are to be worn every day. And with everyday wear comes the risk of knocking your stone and dropping it and subjecting it to different chemicals and all of that stuff. So what makes moissanite a great engagement ring and diamond alternative is that it's very durable. So in school we all learned that nothing can scratch a diamond. Like on the Mohs hardness scale, diamonds are at a 10. And so moissanite is a step below a diamond at a 9.25 to a 9.5. Essentially the only thing that could scratch a moissanite is a diamond, which makes them very practical for an engagement ring because, again, it's something that you're going to be wearing day after day. And if you're anything like me, you're rough with your hands. I can't tell you how many times I've dropped my ring or it's brushed up against something hard, and it's been just fine. So I'd like to touch a little bit on caring for your moissanite. This probably is so bad, but I haven't gotten my ring professionally cleaned since I've gotten it. So every month or so I take Dawn dishwashing liquid or like a Mrs. Meyer, something gentle, and a soft toothbrush, and I'll just put a little bit of the dish soap on the toothbrush and I'll just scrub my ring, gently of course. And it's amazing what a difference just giving your ring a little bath every now and then will make. So something else that I have used to clean my moissanite specifically is actually Wright's silver polish, which sounds really crazy. The reason that I've needed it for my moissanite is because my moissanite developed the dreaded oil slick. And if you've done any research at all, you've probably heard about moissanites and their susceptibility to getting these little, they look like little drops of oil on your moissanite. And it's really just an area of, it kind of looks a little gray, like in the light. I've only had one ever, and I used this silver polish. I applied it with my toothbrush just like I did if I were cleaning it, and it came right off. So I've only had one, and again, I'm careful. Like I try to take my ring off when I'm cooking, and if I'm cleaning, I try not to subject it to harsh chemicals. The oil slick that did develop for me came right off with that silver polish. I will say be careful getting the silver polish on your band. So my band is white gold, and I've heard people complain about getting the silver polish and like scrubbing their actual band with it, and it takes that silver look off of it. So just a little warning for y'all to be careful. So another reason why I love moissanites has to do with the fact that actually they are man-made, and I love knowing that, you know, if I had a diamond, that it's natural and it's from the earth, and that's just so cool to me. But with that comes impurities, and some people are okay with that. But a lot of times, you know, in order to get a top tier, super white diamond with, you know, very minimal impurities and imperfections, you're gonna pay a whole lot of money for that. And if you have it to spend, great. But again, for us, we were students, and well, John Phillips still is a student years and years later, but at that time we were undergraduate students, and there was absolutely no way that we could have done that. With moissanites, you are guaranteed a perfect gemstone because they're man-made. You can just expect the absolute whitest, most, again, perfect stone. You won't see any little inclusions like little black speckles that you'll sometimes see in diamonds. You won't get that with a moissanite. So at the time of me searching to try to find the perfect ring, when it came to moissanites, there were two different kinds. So the first one was just the standard, I can't remember exactly, but there was like the standard moissanite that had been around for a little while. And then there was a relatively new development called the Forever One. It was marketed to be brighter and more clear and just overall more beautiful than the original. So I went with the Forever One, and it did cost a little bit more, but it was worth it to me to pay a little extra for that. So I mentioned Olive Avenue Jewelry a little bit previously, and I just want to talk about them a little bit more. So I have gotten just tons and tons of compliments on my ring, and I owe all of that to them. I feel like they did such an amazing job. I remember emailing back and forth with one of the employees there, and they just helped me so much. But I did make a few changes here and there with just overall quality of the diamonds, but super quick to respond. And I know my sister would say the very same thing. She gets tons of compliments on her ring too, and they're just a pleasure to work with. So if you are in the market and your local jeweler doesn't offer moissanite, trust me, you won't go wrong with Olive Avenue. There's also now a lot of other places where you can acquire moissanite as it's becoming more and more popular. I think Brilliant Earth is another website that offers moissanite. But I will say, if you do have a local jeweler, definitely go to them first, because I'm sure it's really nice to be able to actually talk to someone and show them what you want. You know, if you have a certain design that you want, or you want something custom, it'd be really nice to have that one-on-one. Also, I'm a big advocate for shopping local and supporting people within your community, so definitely check out your local jeweler first. If you watching this were anything like me, then you wanted to see close-ups of the ring. So now I'll just insert a few clips of the ring on my finger so that you're able to see what my oval moissanite ring looks like in different lighting. Okay, so really fast, I do want to mention a few cons of having a moissanite over a diamond. There are very few, in my opinion. If you're a person who loves tradition and you know that you want something of value, then you may prefer a diamond over a moissanite. I am not knocking diamonds in any way, shape, or form. I love tradition, and hopefully one day I'll have my own diamond ring. But again, at this point in our lives and at the time that we got engaged, a moissanite was by far the best option, and I am not mad at all for choosing a moissanite. Another con is something that I already mentioned, and that is just the potential to develop oil slicks if your ring comes into contact with certain chemicals, or if you're constantly like washing your hands in water with a lot of impurities. I know I read that somewhere that that's another reason that you could develop an oil slick on your moissanite. Another potential con for some people has to do with the refractive index of the moissanite. So I cannot tell you the exact number, like the refractive index, but I know that it's much higher than that of a diamond. So basically what this means is that the moissanite, when light is shown on it, it's going to reflect color. And sometimes this reflection of so much color will deter people from choosing a moissanite just because it's the colors of the rainbow. Whereas diamonds reflect white light. And so you're not going to have that disco ball effect with a diamond that you could have with a moissanite, just depending on what lighting you're in. To me, I notice it the most with incandescent lights and like really yellowy lights shining down on it. That's when I notice it the most. But it doesn't bother me at all, because 9 times out of 10, it's not that crazy disco ball reflection at all. Okay, and now moving on to some pros, even though I feel like pretty much this whole video has been a big video of why you should get moissanite. So my number one pro would be the price. So I am a little hesitant to share what my husband paid for this, just because I don't want it to come across as tacky or anything. But my ring, which again, center stone is the equivalent of a 1-carat diamond with a diamond halo and a pave setting like around the side of the ring. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. But anyway, all of that was around, I believe, $1,800. And if you were to look up this very ring with the top quality diamond at 1 carat, you would be looking at close to an $8,000 ring. And that just depends on where you're sourcing it from. But you can just see. So that's your decision to make. Again, if you're okay with spending that kind of money, you want something of value to pass down, you know, from generation to generation, go with the diamond. But for me, this is a major pro, knowing that I can get the exact same look with a durable stone for just under $2,000. And I should say that's excluding the wedding band. Another pro is the fact that you're getting a flawless stone with 0 impurities and imperfections. And while the hardness scale could be seen as a con for some people, it's a major pro for me, because like I said, I wear my ring every day, as you will too, more than likely. And it doesn't matter how careful you are, you're gonna bang it at some point, or it's gonna drop from your nightstand onto your hardwood or whatever. Knowing that the only thing that could really harm this stone is a diamond makes me very happy and makes me feel secure. And one final pro for me is that moissanites come in every shape under the sun. So I loved an oval at the time, and it's funny because at the time ovals were not very popular, and now everybody has an oval ring, but it's okay. Moving on. So you are able to create your perfect ring with a substantial stone for a fraction of the cost of a diamond. I find this so funny. So in my last video that I posted, John Phillip, my husband, walked in like the very last minute of me filming it. Same thing happened today. So I think I was about done though. We were talking about the pros and cons of moissanite, and I really think if you're on the market for an affordable option, but you want the look and the quality of a really nice and expensive diamond ring, then moissanite is the way to go. So I hope that you have learned something today, and I hope that if you are on the fence of whether or not you should choose a diamond or a moissanite, that this video helped to clear up some things. So I thank all of you for watching, and don't forget to check out my blog, sydneyonprescottstreet.com, for more info regarding moissanite and an in-depth review from both me and my sister. Thank you all so much again for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!